Hey legends, what's up? It's Darkmech here and welcome back to another video. Today we're covering off the Guardian Druid for the current patch 9.2 and beyond. Now straight off the bat, the information that I'm providing you with today has been obtained from and in collaboration with our Guardian Druid Overlord Pumps, who is the guide writer on Wowhead for the Guardian Druid. For the most up-to-date information, make sure that you continue to check out the Wowhead guides and visit the Dreamgrove Discord for real-time updates and frequently asked questions. Now, with all that out of the way, let's kick this guide off and let's start off with the basics: rotation. So Guardian Druid has one of the easier rotations in the game, which is not only fantastic for beginner tanks, but is also a huge advantage for seasoned players. It means that you can focus on other things like cooldown usage, your surroundings, your positioning, cast timers, and just staying alive in general. Another huge bonus for the Guardian Druid is, unlike a number of other classes, the rotation doesn't actually change pending single target versus AoE situations. So a rotation blueprint for you. You're going to keep Moonfire ticking at all times, you're going to keep Thrash on cooldown, and you're going to keep Mangle on cooldown. You're going to fill those gaps with Swipe, and then you're going to spread Moonfire to any additional targets if you're in an AoE situation. And then you're going to spend your rage on either Iron Fur or Maul. Pretty simple. Now, if you are talented into Incarnation, Guardian of Ursoc, whilst this is active, you will just be spamming Thrash for 30 seconds. Be sure when you are doing this though that you are not just sitting at rage cap. Make sure that you spend your rage. Spend it on either Iron Fur stacks to build up mitigation, or if you just want more damage, spend it on Maul. How does the 2-piece and 4-piece set bonus impact the Guardian Druid rotation? So the tier set is Tapestry of the Fixed Stars, the 2 set is Architect's Design, and when casting Barkskin, it causes you to berserk for 4 seconds. The 4 set bonus is Architect's Aligner, and this is whilst berserking, you radiate a percentage of your attack power as cosmic damage to nearby enemies, and you heal yourself for a percentage of that attack power every 1 second. So with the 2-piece, when you activate Barkskin, it causes you to berserk for 4 seconds, meaning that you can spam Thrash during this window. And with the 4-piece, you'll be radiating damage and healings every 1 second. Passive, you don't need to worry about it. So all that really comes into it is spamming Thrash when you hit Barkskin, which you can use in a variety of different ways. Cat weaving. Now, cat weaving is a term that you probably have heard thrown around the Guardian Druid community. However, it's like 99% dead this tier, so there's not a whole lot of point in covering it. The goal behind this is being able to build up 5 combo points with your builders, Shred and Rake, and then spend them on Rip or Ferocious Bite pending the situation. But as I said, it's kind of dead at the moment. Our weaving, on the other hand, is far more simpler than cat weaving and is currently a thing. Our weaving, you take Balance Affinity and Heart of the Wild, and you'll shift into Moonkin form to cast spells. You want to cast Sunfire on 5+ target mobs, which can be a significant DPS increase if maintained and is giga useful in Mythic Plus situations. If you are Night Fae, you'll want to be casting your Convoke out of Moonkin form, so you'll apply your Sunfire, you'll cast your first Star Surge, and then you'll smash Heart of the Wild and bang out a Convoke. Our weaving is far more common practice this tier as opposed to cat weaving, so be familiar with this. Talents wise, so there is some talent choice variation on the Guardian Druid depending the content that you are doing, and we're going to start off with raiding. So a common raid build that you will see kicking around is Brambles, Renewal, Balance Affinity, Heart of the Wild, Incarn, Earth Warden or Survival of the Fittest, and Rend and Tear. Now on this level 15 row, you have some wiggle room. If you wanted to get off Brambles, Blood Frenzy is actually the best rage talent generally. You can also trade out Brambles for Bristling Fur. Bristling Fur is an on-demand rage generation ability, which is really useful on a boss like Rygalon. Level 30, you can swap out your affinities pending your need. A more defensive option would see you take Restoration Affinity. If you were Owl Weaving, then you would take Balance Affinity, or if you plan to Cat Weave or required more movement in a fight, you would take Feral Affinity. Level 40, Galactic Guardian and Incarn. Without 2-piece, for single target raid encounters, Galactic Guardian wins out. However, once you obtain 2-piece, Incarn is just the better choice in every single situation. Level 45, Earth Warden versus Survival of the Fittest. Survival of the Fittest is actually a better choice on pretty much every boss in Sepulchre except for the Jailer, in which case Earth Warden is a better choice due to the long swing timer and really heavy melee hits from the Jailer. Level 50, Rend and Tear versus Pulverize. Rend and Tear holds value regardless of what kind of content you're doing. It's just a solid default pick. Pulverize, if you require another cooldown to manage, resources, sources of incoming damage, it can be really useful though. Mythic Plus talents, common build you'll see: Blood Frenzy, Renewal, Balance Affinity, Heart of the Wild, Almighty Bash, Incarn, Earth Warden, and Rend and Tear. You do have some freedom over trading out Heart of the Wild for Mighty Bash if you required another stun, or in particular situations like Plaguefall with the first boss and the slimes, you could take Mass Entanglement to make life easy there. Talking about the Covenant choices, so every Covenant is more than fine for all forms of generalized content, which covers like 90% of the player base. I just want to get that out there. If you're an Alpha, normal, heroic raider, play whatever you like. If you're a KSM person who wants to push towards getting your portals at 20, play whatever you like. All the Covenants are more than fine in this form of content. With all that in mind though, I know you guys want to know about the min-max side of things. So for raiding, we'll start with here. Two top raid Covenants are Night Fae and Venthyr. Night Fae with Naya and Venthyr with Theatar. Conduits have not changed. If you want a refresher on Conduits, head to the Wowhead guide and have a look. Otherwise it'll take too much time to go over them. If you want to play Kyrian, Mechanicos is not a terrible choice. It is behind Night Fae and Venthyr though, and Necrolord is down the bottom with Marileth. Now Naya is the overall best pick for the current raid tier. There's a lot of hard hitting boss fights and Naya has great offensive and defensive options throughout Soulbind. Plus Convoke is just a spectacular ability when it comes to both an offensive and defensive standpoint. Theatar for AoE fights as Venthyr is a really great choice though. Encounters like Vigilant Guardian, Zymox, and Anduin, you can get a ton of output via going with Venthyr, and Theatar is a great choice there. To the Mythic Plus side of things, again, all four Covenants are absolutely viable in generalized content unless you are pushing up really high keys, in which case Necrolord falls drastically behind the other three. So the top picks for Mythic Plus are Night Fae, Venthyr, and Kyrian, and again, Conduit choices haven't changed. Check the Wowhead guide if you need an update on those. So Night Fae. Naya is the best overall pick for Mythic Plus. It's a more stable option around managing damage versus Corrin. Now, Grove Invigoration is a really solid passive health and mastery increase that also feeds into our own health. Naya's Burr provides a boost to damage. Bonded Hearts can grant 50% more mastery and health increase from Grove Invigoration stacks, providing you healing to your group. Corrin, on the other hand, is extremely powerful in Mythic Plus due to the burst damage provided by First Strike though. 25% crit is huge going into an initial pull with threat. Wild Hunt Tactics is also a nice boost to damage and healing, and Wild Hunt Stratagem is a small damage and healing increase. So Corrin is very good around a damage profile in Mythic Plus and just being able to try and improve that snap threat. Venthyr, if you're going down the Venthyr route, Theatar is a great choice. Soothing Shade is a decent sized mastery bonus and it's got a solid proc to it. Wasteland Proprietary will give you 6% versatility when activating the Covenant ability in the burst window. It also gives a versatility buff to your party. And lastly, Party Favors provides a really solid stat boost. General Draven is a stupidly solid tank tree for really high end keys. The whole Soulbind is built around stamina, healing increases, and damage reduction. It's a fantastic tree if you require it, but realistically there's a very small percentage of the player base that would actually require that Soulbind, and you'd probably get more juice out of Theatar. It is of course a game though, and play what you like. Kyrian, lastly, aside from just the fun interaction with Kindred Affinity and, boosting someone else's damage, Mechanicos is a solid soulbind. Bron provides decent damage and healing. There's a good haste gain from Hammer of Genesis, and there's solid damage and healing from the bottom two soulbinds in the tree with Soul Glow and Effuse. So Kyrian is not a bad option either. Looking at the legendaries now for the Guardian Druid, your raid profile, if you want damage, is Legacy of the Sleeper and your Unity legendary. If you need defense, the Natural Order's Will plus your Unity is the option that you would go for there for prog style encounters. Mythic Plus wise, Ursoc's Fury Remembered and Legacy of the Sleeper are the two legendaries you would use. Ursox is a great general choice and a banger of a legendary on necrotic weeks. However, Legacy of the Sleeper, once you have 4-piece, is just nutty damage, and I would only use Ursox once I had 4-piece on Necrotic Week, and that is it for Mythic Plus. So what slots do you want these legendaries on? So the recommendations are Ursox Fury Remembered going on your back, Legacy of the Sleeper on your feet, the Natural Order's Will on your wrists. Now, as for your Unity legendary, head, ring, legs. Stats wise, survivability, item level is always going to reign king, and then versatility, mastery or haste, and crit. If you are chasing damage stats, you're going to go with agility, versatility, haste, crit, and mastery. Looking at the enchant side of things, Cloak, Soul Vitality, Fortified Leech, or Fortified Avoidance. Fortified Avoidance is a great raid choice. Chest, Eternal Skirmish is a DPS option, or Eternal Stats lends itself more towards survivability. Rings, you're going to go with Tenant of Versatility. Weapon, you can go with Ascended Vigor for survival, Lightless Force or Celestial Guidance for AoE situations, or Sinful Revelations for a single target. Weapon wise, you're always going to run with a 20 AP Sharpening Stone or a Weight Stone. You can also use Shadow Core Oil, but generally 20 AP is going to be the option you want to go with. Flask wise, Spectral Flask of Power. Potion, you're going to want to use Spectral Agility. In AoE situations, you can use Empowered Exorcism, Heavy Desolate Armor Kit, and Health Potion, Cosmic Healing Potion. Food-wise, Steak a la mode for that versatility. Looking at the weapons now for Guardian Druid. So Zovstrom the Unmaking is the polearm from the Jailer, and if you're raiding at the Mythic level, this is going to be your best option due to the highest item level obtainable at 285. Outside of this, if you don't fit into the Mythic raid category killing the Jailer, the best option you're going to have is getting a 278 Zab's Pike of Authority out of your Great Vault. Now it's a haste verse polearm. You can go and farm this from Theatre of Pain and then upgrade it to 272 via Valor, whilst you wait on trying to get lucky from your Great Vault. It's also worth mentioning that with Season 4 and Sanctum of Domination loot coming again, you'll no doubt see a retaking up of Destiny's Call again, the weapon from the 9, once that's back in play. Lastly, to finish this up, I just want to talk about trinkets really quickly. So you've got Cache of the Acquired Treasures. This trinket does pretty bangers damage. You want to use the axe in all situation as the dot scales with haste, and you want to be trying to use this in your incarn window. First Sigil is a big verse proc on a long cooldown and is, fine if you've got a use for it in that situation. Codex of the First Technique is a solid trinket at higher levels of content. The Reflect, I will say though, can get you into all kinds of trouble, so be cautious around this. It actually pays to have a cancel or a macro ready for this. File of Putrefaction is a solid trinket, procs off melee attacks. Blood Spatter Scale does a load of upfront damage, good snap threat, and a decent sized shield. Reactive Defense Matrix, if you've got one from Mythic level from Sanctum of Domination. Solid trinket from defensive and offensive takes. Elegy of Eternals, boost to secondary stats, and anyone else who's also wearing it, can't go wrong with that. Celia's Secret Technique is another nice secondary boost trinket as well. If you need a cheap death option, Weave of the Warped Fates is a fantastic option. Even if you've got the heroic one, it's got a really nice cap on it. It got changed to an actual cheat death trinket once the new patch hit as well. Well worth going after this trinket if you need a cheat death option. And lastly, Shard of Analyze Aegis, again another Sanctum of Domination trinket. The Absorbed is uncapped. It's not good for big hits, but in pulls like Ardenweald and things like that, it is a really nice trinket to have for defensive purposes like that. So that is it, guys. Any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, hopefully this guide has helped out. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you all next time. See you, fam.